Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Nigel Oxley and this is What to Watch. You join me today to review a new Tudor model, the Pelagos 39. As you know, I'm a big Tudor fan and I've reviewed 3 models before, the Black Bay Steel and Gold, the GMT and the Chronograph. So if you haven't seen any of those videos, I will link them at the end of the video for you to check out. This is the first for the channel. This is the first watch I'm reviewing that I don't own. This has been lent to me by a fellow Yorkshireman. His name is Ben and I highly suggest you check him out on Instagram. He is a fantastic watch photographer and has collaborated with many watch brands and watch accessory brands, so thank you very much to Ben. Whilst I'm thanking people, I want to thank you guys. I asked in my last Tudor video for you to help me out by subscribing, and many of you did, so thank you. We're nearly at 500 subscribers, but that's not quite enough. My Tudor videos usually get around 3,000 views, so even if 20% of you subscribe, I will get to 1,000 subscribers that I need. So please be that 20% and take a second to subscribe. Okay, so to explain this watch, I think what we need to do is go back a short time over Tudor's recent history to figure this one out. Around 10 years ago, after Tudor's relaunch, they launched 2 lines of dive watches. One was the Black Bay and the other was the Pelagos. Where the Pelagos came in black, blue and left-hand drive and was left pretty much alone for the last 10 years. Whereas the Black Bay line started out with black and gilt, blue bezel, red bezel, steel and gold, green bezel, GMT, chronograph, then a small case with the 58 in black and blue, and then the Pro. Why the difference? Well, to answer that, we need to look at the 2 lines of watches. What has made the Tudor brand so successful in recent years? In my opinion, it's the balance of quality, price and cachet. If I can liken Tudor to a car brand whose aim is to sell sporty road-going cars, what is the first thing they do? They make a very fast racing version, and then we buy the road-going version that is more usable for the school run and for doing the shopping. If we use this analogy to apply to watches, we as watch enthusiasts want a dive watch, but we don't need it to go to 500 meters like the Pelagos. What the mass market wants is a capable diver for the odd occasion that we might get it wet, that is versatile and looks good. I don't think the Black Bay line would have been as successful a line of watches unless the new incarnation of Tudor proved that it had a proper deep sea dive watch in the catalogue. To simplify this, I think the Pelagos is function over form and the Black Bay form over function. And that's not a bad thing. The mass market wants a desk diver that they can wear to the pool as well as the office and go out on a weekend. And it's because of this need and drive in the market for the Black Bay that there have been so many colour and size variants, because they are simple yet very versatile and handsome watches. Something which couldn't be said of the Pelagos until now. Whereas the Black Bay line has always been very focused on recapturing the vintage style that has been very much the fashion over the last decade or so, the Pelagos was very much a modern dive watch. Tudor has got so much of the dive watch market currently, but I think their opinion is that the vintage style watch won't be the fashion ongoing. I think they have taken everything they have learned with the Black Bay, right it to the sweet spot of the Black Bay 58, and applied all that knowledge into starting something which I think will take them into the next 10 years. Let's have a closer look at it and find out why. The very first thing I noticed when handling this was how light it was. I had been wearing my Black Bay GMT, and in comparison the new Pelagos felt a bit like a toy watch. Not unbalanced in any way, just very light. So the first thing I did when I got home was I weighed it. It comes in at a really low 106 grams due to the size of the case, and mainly the fact that the case, bracelet and clasp are all made of grade 2 titanium. To give you a comparison to something you might have handled before, if you're a Tudor fan, I weighed the Black Bay GMT with the same length bracelet and it came in at 176 grams. I can't do the maths in my head, but that's a sizable difference. The case itself is 39mm across, but this looks more like a 40 on wrist as the bezel measures 40mm. On wrist it does feel well balanced, and after a whole day of wear, because it's so light, it's extremely comfortable. I suspect they have done this 39mm case size due to the unprecedented success of the Black Bay 58, which seems to be the current sales sweet spot. It's very thin at less than 12mm, so it will wear just as well with a shirt at work as it will with jeans at the weekend. My first little gripe is with the size of the bracelet. 21mm is a bit of an odd choice. Yes, it looks great and suits the case and the dimensions nicely, but I suspect this will limit the options for those who like to change straps frequently, but that is only a small gripe. To differentiate the bracelet away from the Black Bay line, there are no faux rivets, and the clasp has an amazing on-the-fly adjustment, which I suspect will be used more for adjusting on warm days than fitting over a wetsuit. Don't get me wrong, this is more than a capable dive watch with over 200 meters of water resistance. I just don't think this is what this watch is actually designed or will be bought for. The angular crown guards and smaller dial makes this a modern dive style watch for the street rather than the ocean. It has all the spec we would want from a watch of this type. It has a 70-hour power reserve, so that if we're wearing it to the office during the week, then it will still be set and ready to go on Monday morning without any need to wind or set it. It has a silicone balance spring for added resistance to magnetism, not for being used near heavy machinery I suspect, but for passing through airport scanners on its way to a foreign holiday. Moving on to the dial and hands, it definitely has a look of the original Pelagos. The hands are the same. It still has the big snowflake hand and the hour markings are the same. There is a slight step in the rehaut due to the case being slimmer rather than the large cutouts on the larger model. But it's the textures and colours that are the real difference. The hour markers are white, not off-white, no silver hues, no faux retro styling here, they are pure brilliant white. This white contrasts perfectly against the black dial, which in indoor lighting looks flat and looks matte, but it's not. It's very difficult to describe as it's like a shiny matte and really comes alive when you take it outside, something I can't do today because of the weather. The bezel itself is made of titanium and has a ceramic insert, which the Tudor website describes as sunray, but I wouldn't describe it as that. The bezel insert and the dial need a real strong direct sunlight to see any sunray effect. And I think that's a good thing, as both the matte looking dial and the almost cloudy bezel work perfectly with the satin finish and colour of the Grade 2 titanium case and bracelet. So to summarise, I think this is the start of a new chapter for Tudor. I think they have learned a lot from the huge success of the vintage inspired Black Bay line and have poured all that knowledge into a modern day contemporary dive watch for the masses. I think they've done a great job with this. I think this is Tudor's own Submariner. When we look back in 100 to 150 years, we will look at the Submariner as Rolex's definitive dive watch, even though they have more capable dive watches in the range. At the same time, we will look back at the Pelagos 39 as the dive watch that defined Tudor in the same way. There is no denying the success of the Black Bay line, but let's face it, it was built on a vintage Rolex aesthetic. It is with this watch that Tudor will step out of the shadow of Rolex and create its own very unique identity. Thank you very much for watching. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so now. Don't forget to check out my other Tudor videos, and remember, if you're ever struggling for what to watch, just keep an eye out for another one of my videos. See you next time.